just a quickie, just while everyone's getting sit down. How many people here are using Google Analytics? How many people are using the free version? Most. Cool. Are people using Data Studio? Ooh, a few. Cool. Okay. Hopefully, we'll have some cool stuff to learn. I'll crack on. I just want to say I'm really delighted to be here. I can't tell you, first of all, I was in hospital on Monday, so that was like even double surprise that I'm actually still here. No, I'm joking. If I start babbling incoherently, it's because I'm a data geek or it's a medication. I'm not sure which is which, but hopefully we'll be able to get through. I just want to say this event has got such a phenomenal reputation. Everyone says to me, come to SearchLeeds, it's amazing. And just seeing the quality of some of the speakers that are here and what's going on, you know, it's phenomenal. And I definitely want to come again. I think it's brilliant. Just to introduce myself, I'm going to be talking a little bit about analytics and SEO, the perfect partnership in crime. So I'm going to tell you, we're going to try and break some laws today. So if you guys are a bit nervous about breaking laws, then hold on to your seats. The only stuff that I'm going to show you guys that you'll be needing is just make sure you guys have got Google Analytics and you've got good data collection. That's the starting point. If you guys are using Tag Manager, that helps a lot as well. And Data Studio is something that if you guys aren't playing with at the moment, I thoroughly recommend, and I'll give you a few tips on that a bit later. I trained at General Assembly, and recently I've just been made a media developer expert. It's one company that has an idea that actually media is going to be the future. And if I was to encourage you guys to look at one thing, is to have a look at what changes are going on in terms of images and media, because it has potential to skyrocket. It's definitely the next curve, and I'm sure you'll be hearing a lot more about it over the next year or so. I'll touch on that a little bit as well today. So like I said, I work at Photobox, and my job there is a data implementation person. So you're kind of wondering what's a data implementation person doing here at an SEO event. Basically, I really like SEO data. The nice thing about SEO data is it's actually better than analytics data. And as you can see from the signs over there, they're ever closely converging. And I think that what we're going to be able to do today is hopefully going to help you guys to accelerate that process. So what we're going to talk about, what are some of the challenges that are coming up? There's a lot of really scary things coming up at the moment. How we're going to deal with those challenges, and most importantly, some things that you guys can actually take home and try today that will help you guys to take things to the next level. So the big challenges that are coming up, number one, is specialization. How many people here have a data analyst on their team that they work with? Yeah? Have you seen some of the tools that they're using at the moment? It's really complicated. We're talking about SQL, things like that, that really mean that different parts of the business are moving at different speeds. It's quite challenging. And actually, if you look at the tools that the SEO teams are using, for data people to understand some of those tools, it's even more challenging. I mean, things like Screaming Frog and Deep Crawl and all these other tools that are coming out, they're doing some really, really amazing things, but are really hard to be able to understand. So for the reality for most businesses nowadays is maybe 2-3 years ago, you had a clear picture of how you guys were going to get to the destination and what tools and techniques you could do that. You could do a bit of SEO, you could do a bit of analytics and kind of muddle your way through. That's becoming less certain. Because of the stuff that you need to do, you have to kind of understand that you only understand part of the picture, and you have to rely on your teams and other people to help you to get you to that direction. It's definitely more around collaboration. And as was mentioned yesterday as well, in the last meeting, should I do the video? Yeah, I'll do the video. I'll use this video. This is one I ran at a data event recently, and it shows how complicated things are. And this is what it's like for business people.
Shaft, 87% damage. Aft vector guards, 96% damage. Structural breaches in quadrants 32, 34, 40,
what about the engines?
Forward thruster shaft.
So this is a business owner who's having problems, a product owner, he's struggling.
Engines? Why don't we have power?
The beryllium sphere has fractured.
The data analyst just asked a question to the system, and it said, there's a problem.
Can it be repaired?
Computer, can it be repaired?
Damage to beryllium
So the product
sphere.
owner has to ask the data person the information. He can't ask the system itself to be able to get the answers.
You broke the bloody ship.
Computer, is there a replacement beryllium sphere on board?
Computer, is there a replacement beryllium sphere on board?
Negative. No reserve beryllium sphere exists on board.
No, we have no extra beryllium sphere on board.
You know, that is really getting annoying.
Anyway.
Look,
Anyway, that's the point taken. Effectively, by only having one person on your team who's able to communicate with your systems, be able to make changes, get analysis, and make things like that, it's going to slow businesses down. It's slowing everybody down. And it's something that data literacy within every company should be #1 thing that you learn. It's the same thing as learning how to use a computer 10 years ago. If people are learning to use data, how to understand what's coming in, and are thinking about all the different departments as being data sources, they can then start finding their own information. And this is one of the things that's coming. The data people are also looking really, really worried at the moment, because there's these couple of things coming up now which are called user privacy. And I personally am a big advocate for user privacy. Has anyone heard of ITP, or Intelligent Tracking Protection? Yeah, so there's a few people. I thoroughly recommend that you guys go and have a look at that, because what it means is that on the plus side, SEO is going to become more important, but on the other side, some of the data that you guys have been able to trust has always been there isn't probably going to be there anymore. So for example, if users come back to the website, you may not always have that information anymore, because the cookies will expire after 24 hours or 7 days. So if a user comes back after 7 days, guess what? It's a new user. So we're in very challenging times, and that's why people like me have got probably less hair than they had before. But the tools are catching up, and we're going to get there. This is something that we don't really have an answer for yet, but the answers are coming. That's the link over there, and I'll pass it through to everyone. I thoroughly recommend you read it, because it's going to impact every part of your business. So the question now becomes, how do you stand out in an organization? How do you stand out in a market? Everyone's doing things that are very similar. What's the one thing that you guys can do to start making sure that you can push yourselves up to the top of the pile, that you can get your customers' attentions? For me personally, this is an idea that I thought about, and I've realized that the only way that we're really going to be able to do that is we need to break the mold. We need to break the rules. And it's the rules that we've actually set ourselves. So this, I know it looks like a blank slate. I left it intentionally blank. But I want to give you guys an opportunity. It's something that most people don't always take to it. This is a blank slate. I'm sure all of you have had ideas over the past 2 years, 3 years, 4 years that you really wanted to bring to reality. You really wanted it to be there and to go live. But for whatever reason, it didn't happen. Now, what were some of those reasons why it didn't happen? For me personally, I've seen companies, loads of companies say the same thing. We're not that sort of company. We don't have the good data. We don't have things. There's always these self-imposed rules. And it's these rules that are actually the things that are locking us in. And it's these things that I think we need to break. I want all of you guys to kind of think back to one idea that you have and take it out of your back pocket. Hold it there, and I want you guys to keep it safe. Because with all these changes that are coming around at the moment, it's going to be these ideas that are going to help people to go to the next level. And there's definitely plenty of opportunity to do that. When I talk about breaking the rules, I'm just going to make sure I emphasize, I don't mean do anything illegal. Yeah? Don't get arrested, don't do anything that's going to jeopardize people. But most importantly, follow the rules of any system that you're working with. So if Google says these are the rules, follow those rules. The rules that I'm talking about that I think we've got the opportunity to break are the rules that we actually impose on ourselves from within our organizations. The way that we break it is we partner up. So Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid. These two guys used to go and rob trains, they used to rob banks. Obviously they were doing things illegal, and I think they ended up getting killed. So again, probably further emphasis, don't do anything illegal. But they managed to do things by working together, which they probably wouldn't have been able to do alone. And I think that's the opportunity for us at the moment, is if we can find ways to partner up within our companies, we can do some more important things. These two guys partnered up ages ago, and they broke the one rule which everyone said they should. People believed that systems needed to be one way. And they said, no, we don't believe that. And they changed the whole ethos of their company, and it created revolutions. Just by saying, what are the rules that we want to set for ourselves? And they didn't look at any other rules. So this is the opportunity that you guys have at the moment. Have you guys ever heard of Conways Law? No? I was amazed by this because it's something that's very, very prominent in the consulting and agency world. Conways Law is that any system that you build will look like the organization that created it. So if you think about it, any website that you build will look like the organization that built it. Any system that you're busy focusing on, if you guys have a big marketing team, guess what? You're going to have a lot of marketing in your systems. If you have a big tech team, guess what? You're going to have a lot of marketing, a lot of tech in your systems. Hence, Amazon being built by techies, guess where their primary focus is? This is Conway's. I think I've got the words for it as well here. So I want you guys to think about it. Within your organizations now, how are you guys designing your organization to produce the best results? Are you working in the best possible way? Conway says if you can find a way to engineer your systems and work together, you'll be able to do amazing things. And I can guarantee you that that's going to happen. This is an example of Conway's Law. Sorry if anyone here is from Virgin Media. Virgin Media was made up of a conglomerate of loads of different companies. And if you look at their design of their website, you can see it pretty live on there. If you wanted to buy a telephone, this is a few years ago, the answer was you had to look behind the second burger menu just above the second navigation. So again, really, really hard, difficult to understand. And again, this is a product of Conway's Law. If we fast forward to 2019, we could see that they've started breaking up some of Conway's Law, but actually we still got 2 navigations, and I'm guessing that their marketing department is probably quite significantly bigger than it was before. But again, it just is a product of an organization created in an individual way, not necessarily thinking about the way that customers potentially would have been engaging with it. So I'm sure there's opportunities for them to do more as well. And now if we think about a typical shop, so I'm not going to say that this is exactly like PhotoBox, but I've spoken to a lot of different companies as well, and this is broadly what it is. We've got people who are responsible for bringing visitors in. They come to our products, hopefully they buy them, and then they become customers, and then we have a whole lot of great design and raw materials that's helping to produce those products. Is that broadly the same as most companies that are working over here? And what we have is we have boxes. So we've got an SEO unit who's responsible for getting visitors onto the website. How many of you guys are KPI'd based on how much traffic you're bringing to the website? Sure, and you've obviously got your own tooling as well. You've got your crawlers, you've got your screaming frogs, and you've got paid media that's bringing visitors into the website as well. And then you've got CRM teams that's responsible for bringing them back. And we've got an e-com unit. So all of these things are nicely boxed up. Typically, we've also got a data unit that's sitting slightly outside of here as well. Data people, if you ever want a trick to get your data person on board, just talk about dragons or unicorns. They all have a weird obsession about it. It's quite frightening, right? If you do that, it's amazing. If you ever want to get your data person, say, can you do something that will be a dragon that'll make us like a fire-breathing dragon? They'll be like, amazing, cool, do it. So if you box up, this is kind of how I felt. These are the rules that we've created for ourselves. And actually, we're all kind of in jail. We're in jail for following those rules. So before we can do something that's really going to win, we have to think about how we can break out of the jail. So everyone's locked in their boxes, and maybe data and analytics is the only thing that's really conduit between the different teams. So how do we break out of the jail? And this is one thing that I've done recently at PhotoBox, which has been a game changer. We've changed how we're working together. And I've started doing one thing with every single one of our teams, which I've really enjoyed doing, and it's been really good. So these are all the things that SEO is good at. Yeah? Do you agree with me? These are all the things that data is really good at. And I found out that some of our SEO team people were busy investigating all these machine learning things and all these other technologies because they thought it was really, really valuable. Actually sitting right next to them, in fact, about 4 desks away, we had people who were actually machine learning experts who literally had APIs that could do some of these things as well. So we got them to kind of start working a little bit together. We started building, as part of our regular reporting, I started actually working with a couple of guys to actually say, well, why don't we just build dashboards together and make sure we've got alignment? And we started breaking down the barriers between the teams. Now, this was the one exercise. If you guys want to try to break down a barrier between your 2 different teams, what do you guys use for your reporting? Do you use like Excel, spreadsheets, extracts from Google Analytics? All these kind of things. I see some nodding on there. This one exercise I stole from our development team. They use a technique called pair programming. If you have two different developers working, you have one developer who is navigating and telling the other person what to do, and then you've got the other person who's actually sitting there and doing the work. So we've started actually doing some paired dashboarding, which has been phenomenal. So obviously, I'm the data geek, so I'm kind of driving at and building the dashboard on Data Studio. And then I've got the person on the SEO team or the SEM team or the CRM team actually saying to me, I need this, I need this, I need this, I need this. And suddenly we're finding that there's spaces for machine learning, there's spaces for all these other things that he didn't really think about because we weren't working together. And it's actually stuff that we could deliver really, really easily. With Google Data Studio, you've got this amazing functionality that you can kind of change from just having data being the sole custodian of data to actually everyone being data sources. SEO is probably one of the most valuable data sources that you can think about for a business. We understand customer intent. We understand where people are coming from. We've got a commercial model. All these kind of things are really valuable. And now what's happened is instead of it just being locked up in the SEO team or locked up in the SEO and data team, what could you do to actually make it available to everyone in the business? And that's what Data Studio does. It lets you take your data and make it available to anyone to use. How many people use SEO data with their CRM campaigns? What could you do if you did that? How many people use SEO data to help inform their product development? Well, a couple of people are doing it. As soon as I started showing some of our product teams some of the data that was coming around search intent, we had some amazing results with it. The main thing as well is that each team can visualize the data themselves as well. They can choose how they want to compose it. If they want to take some data from the analytics team, some data from SEO, some data from CRM, some data from sales, they can. They can take from a wide variety of sources and just pull it all into one place. And like I said before, Data Studio is built on top of web, and it's free. So it doesn't cost anything for you guys to be able to use it. And then the most important bit is that you can share this thing. One of my favorite customers when I was at an agency before, they actually set up joint page with all their dashboards. So the entire team was able to view all the data from all the other parts of the team. Really, really simple, but amazingly powerful, because guess what? You're not always looking at your data always at the same time, and you're not always viewing it from the same perspective as people. People will always find ways to improve on it. So let's think about this now. So what can your gang achieve if you have Search Console data and Google Analytics data working together? What sort of things can we add into it? So if you go into the Data Studio report gallery, you can see these are all pre-made weapons that you guys are able to use immediately without any further work. You can take a copy of it, you could use it, and you can modify it. And there's actually a huge amount of really good SEO dashboards that you can use pretty much straight away. There's a guy called Helpful Lee in the US who's been putting together loads of really good workbenches. So not just using Data Studio for delivering your reporting, but actually letting you work and analyze the data and look in different ways at particular elements of it. You can see here, the reports look beautiful. It's all built on top of web, and you can actually start customizing and building your own visualizations now as well. Just checking on time. I've got 5 minutes still? Yeah. So the big takeaway is that if you go into, this is the default Google Search Console Data Studio report that comes out. If you take this data and you start making it available to the rest of your business, you can start pulling in things. This is directly from the API in Search Console. It's not limited to the same way as the UI, because it's actually pulling in data. You get historical data. You can go further back. You're not limited by 1,000 queries. And also, you can customize this data as well. And you can mix it together with your analytics. This is something that took all of about 5 minutes to do. I literally just took all the data that's coming in from the queries. This obviously isn't PhotoBox data. This is from Google makes available the data from their merchandise store for use for demos and things like that. And I said to the team, in our product team, here you go. These are all the things that people are searching for. And immediately it became a really interesting source for them. They actually had meetings to discuss what they could do with that particular data. There's a guy I know called Matt who works for a website which is, actually I won't mention the website, but he used to spend his whole time looking at the search data and also at the internal search data, so mixing analytics and mixing SEO. And he was able to discover that there was a very big interest in a little book called 50 Shades of Grey, which no one had heard of at the time. Anyway, from him spotting this and identifying the trend, he was actually able to pass this to the product team, and they were the first exclusive licensees for this brand, which obviously made them quite a significant amount of money. Doing something really simple by letting someone look at your search data can open up all these different other perspectives. And if you can see things like how important it is for people, it also helps them to do it. And they can also ask for more data. They can query more data if they want to. The product team actually has their own version of this now, which they look at periodically, and we've actually changed how they report it. We've actually added some machine learning. With Google Data Studio as well, you've got the ability, and this is whenever I show this to people, they're like, wow, you can do this within the report. You can change the data, and you can process the data. So I've given you guys two kind of recipes here, and I've got links to them at the bottom of the slide as well. You can break up your data between branded and non-branded. And then you could see how branded versus non-branded has changed over the past 6 months. You can also look at which ones are giving the most impressions. You can look at what things are changing, and you can also make those available to everyone else if you guys use things like waterfall charts. You can even break it out by mobile. All these things were really hard to do before, but are really easy now. You can even identify long tail versus short tail. So I only want to see terms that have 3 or more words in them, and then start analyzing and looking at that. All these kind of things are literally out the box with Data Studio. Really, really simple. You know, you do your content groupings probably in Excel where you analyze the URL. You can do that as well. This is the recipe to do it in Data Studio. But the nice thing is, because you can join together your analytics data, you can actually get the proper tracked categories. You can get the product IDs. You can get all these kind of things that really add value to the data. And again, present them in a really visual way. What you can even do as well is that you can filter based on these. So if I click on this, I can see only the search queries that landed on contacts. And this is the last thing. This is actually a custom visualization that I've just released recently, which lets you monitor your competitors' page speeds using PageSpeed Insights. You can keep an eye on as many competitors as you like to and be able to see how you guys are performing. Break it out by device, all this sort of thing, and it's all updated in real time. The last thing that I've got as well, just to give you, I'm okay, it's on time, yeah? And this is something that I think, remember we talked about how we stand out? This is going to probably be the next curve that comes up. I heard a talk by a woman called Amy Ballard, who works for Killer Infographics. And she actually said to me, she said, if you look at the reaction that people are getting from interactive content, so don't just do words, don't just do images, don't just do video. Think about how you can actually make your content interactive with your users. Good news is with Data Studio, you've got an embed function built straight into it as well. So you can click on the button, and you can embed it into blog posts, web pages, you name it, you can embed it in there. And again, completely free. You can take what you've got from your analytics team, from your SEO team, from your product team, and you can publish it back out onto the website and make it available for users to consume. All this kind of stuff's leading up to, I think, probably will be the big heist that I'd say that you guys can try and do, which is to try and steal traffic from your paid marketing channels. And that's really where the power is, and that's really where the payment is. If you guys can crack that by using some of those tools and techniques, your paid team are going to be able to be a data source for you, and you'll be able to be a data source for them. And that's how teams get brought together, and that's how you break Conway's Law. I'll leave you with the last note from Steve Jobs. Technology is nothing. Give your people tools. They'll do wonderful things with them. Share your data and share your tools with the rest of your teams, and you guys will be able to do wonders. So thanks very much.